One Punch Man Chapter 127. Yes, this is 127, and like I said in the previous review, Gar vs. Darkshine, I was curious if that chapter was actually still 126, and it looks like that was the case. That was just like part 2. This is officially Chapter 127, and what a chapter it was. Quite a few things to get into, so let's do it. So Tatsumaki's finally able to pull Psychos from the ground to meet her, I guess, halfway at this point, after about 18 chapters of trying. This is about the closest that One Punch Man has gotten to Dragon Ball Z since Boros versus Saitama. But surprisingly, Psychos is able to, fight back against this. And we have to remember that, I guess it was like 125 or somewhere around there, she drank that elixir, whatever it was, that boosted her Esper powers, and she claimed that she was way stronger than what was known as Giro's power. And I estimate that maybe she's like High Dragon or something like that, and somewhere around there. But I guess it's more or less true, because she's able to wrap the same kind of psychic binding around Tatsumaki that Tatsumaki wrapped around her. And it seems like she's like pulling her through the ground, and she's kind of meeting her like 3/4 of the way to Tatsumaki pulling her up, and then that's when they like clash together in their like Esper bubbles, and all of that lightning sparks everywhere in a pretty cool sequence. So then we come to the Incredible King sequence, and I always say this whenever we get a new development on him, and it's like whenever I thought that one had reached his peak on developing sequences for him, he just keeps going and just one-ups it. Like, I love this sequence so much. And I'm sure you did too, because it's like he's like suspicious of Terrio, because in, I think, chapter 109, he encountered that mimic monster who was mimicking Waganma, and he was able to literally scare him to death in one of the greatest feats in the series, no meme involved. So he's suspicious of Terrio, thinking that it's going to be the same thing, but this time it's actually randomly a monster who's just able to become invisible. And coincidentally, at the same exact time that he's questioning Terrio, the monster is there and he becomes visible. And he's like, I'm sorry to bother you, I'll see myself out. And then runs away. Oh my god, I love this. I can't get over how great this sequence is. Like, one's ingenuity, I don't know, is it attainable? I'm not sure at this point, but I wish I can get it. So we come to the most amazing portion of this chapter, and it has finally happened, ladies and gentlemen. Orochi has returned. So yes, I've made a video on this. I think I've made like 2 or something. I've talked about this a lot. The possibility of Orochi returning. You know, a lot of people were like, nah, he's dead, he's gone. Just shut up, Shonen. Just stop talking about Orochi coming back. But sorry to break it to you guys, but it's come to fruition. He is back now. And as you'll notice at the very end of the chapter Vib, he included that little sketch that Murata drew of like Orochi growing from like a little plant-esque thing all the way up to his normal form. That's the first thing that came to my mind when I saw this, because I was curious as to like why Murata was drawing that. I don't know, this was like 2 years ago, so who knows what was going on in my head, but I was just like, is this like some kind of backstory to Orochi that we weren't aware of? Actually, it turns out that it was a future plot point. So I'm not going to go over every single thing that has gone into why I think Orochi was going to return inevitably, because a lot of that is like spoiler stuff, not even webcomic stuff, just like inside baseball of Murata and One like drafting the story, which is different from the webcomic story. So if you would like to know everything about that, please check out my video, Why Orochi Might Be Coming Back Soon. So I guess more or less I kind of figured that he would be coming back like kind of like the way that he is now. I mean, obviously he was reduced to just kind of like a skull plate by the time Saitama was done with him, but now he's like kind of become like this amorphous organy blob thing. He reminds me so much of like Tetsuo from the end of the Akira movie. Also like Tetsuo from Tetsuo the Iron Man movie. Check that out. It's great. But the way that Oroshi's able to come back here is really pushing the boundaries of what we've typically seen of monsters before, because it just seems like if you push him to, I guess, his heart form, Orochi heart element, depending on if that's like the exact translation. Shout out to HCX514, he's the GOAT after all. But anyway, so Orochi's ability to like reconfigure himself here by absorbing other monsters and using their blood is something that we haven't really seen before. This might be something that happens when you start going into that crazy level of power that Orochi has attained. Like, because like Orochi, his level of power is higher than what Garo is currently. When we saw that his limiter was about to remove against Darkshine. Now, does that mean that Orochi removed his limiter? I don't know. It's never been clarified at all. The limiter is nuanced, as well as like the individuals that try to reach that point of power. It's different to everybody, I assume so. But Orochi did undergo the Zenkai Boost Death Revival power thing multiple times, and he was able to break through a few walls that kind of stagnate power. So the level that Orochi has pushed to at this point has just given them this ability to where he can just break down to like a amorphous form and then regenerate himself by like accumulating others. So then we see Psycho shoot beams from her eyes, and yes, this is very significant. We saw that she was capable of something like this back in chapter 109 when she was using those multiple eyeballs while she was still using the Giro Giro puppet. I'm not going to talk about this in this review. I have a whole video dedicated to the significance of this. I'm really excited to make that video. You'll know exactly what it is when you see the title of it. It should be out, within the next couple days. But also that brings us to My Mask just coming back into the story and talking to Tatsumaki here, which is pretty fun. So I guess we're just seeing like a break in between his fight with Führer Ugly. Like he was somehow able to like, I don't know, escape from him a little bit and then just talk on the intercom thing that they have. And he explains to Tatsumaki like why he just totally wiped out Narinki's private squad. And he's kind of telling like a half-truth here. Because he says that like he tried to stop them, but he didn't. Like he just straight up went after them, even was like telling like the disciples to just get out of there so that he could do it covertly. But everything else he's saying about how, they were basically beyond saving was kind of true. But also, I know it's just a fun little way to have My Mask and Tatsumaki have more banter. But it's also kind of just confirming that My Mask isn't dead or completely defeated at this point. He's kind of just running away from Führer Ugly. And another interesting thing is that if you see in the one panel of him talking, there's like a mirror behind him. And that was a question that I had a few chapters back when we saw like My Mask looking at the broken mirror and like Führer Ugly's face in it. I was like, is that a genjutsu? Is that real? Like, where are they? I guess it's real. I guess Führer Ugly, I don't know, installed like funhouse mirrors or something in his domain of the Monster Association that he's in control of or something. So Orochi's able to bring himself together enough to like start forming his dragon heads, and they blast Tatsumaki and like catching her off guard. And this like kind of damages her. This is literally the most damage we have ever seen done to Tatsumaki in the series so far. Like her sleeves are torn up. She's kind of got some tatter on her thighs, and she's like, visibly shaken by this. So that's just showing you that like Orochi has some serious power, just despite him being in like his amorphous form that he's in right now. So then we see Psycho's diving into Orochi, or at least his big meat worm thing that he has protruding out of the ground, and she says that if we use your energy contained in your body to amplify my psychokinesis, we can beat her. So does that mean that Psycho's is going to fuse with Orochi somehow, and then they're going to like have their power combined by some method possibly? Or is she going to like pilot him, kind of like how Moria pilots oars in One Piece, something like that maybe? That would be interesting. I'd personally rather just see Orochi just come back together and then fight Tatsumaki like that, with Psycho's kind of like backing him up possibly. Either way, I mean, it's going to be cool. And also, like I said, this is all new stuff, so it's not like I'm spoiling anything. Now, we also have to acknowledge that Saitama and Flashy Flash are here. That was the significance of them just going around in the minecart thing. It was eventually just going to come to this point. So that settles all of that. And also, of course, it's, developing the relationship between Saitama and Flashy Flash. So, man, I just hope that Saitama just doesn't punch Orochi again. It was fun the first time. Let somebody else just have some, fun. Saitama, go do something else. Just get out of here, please. Just leave the room for like a couple chapters and let them all fight it out amongst themselves. I'm thinking that Flashy Flash might legitimately fight Orochi here. Maybe Flashy Flash and Tatsumaki team up to take on Orochi or something, and then maybe that's how he gets taken out. I mean, it's subtly kind of been built up because Flashy Flash has been talking to Mike Wazowski about Orochi and fighting him and all that stuff. So it ain't literally come to fruition here in the next sequence. Hopefully. Let's just hope Saitama, I don't know, goes somewhere else. I don't know. You know, I love him. I love him just as much as you guys. But, you know, like I said, let somebody else have some fun with this thing. But that's pretty much it for the review today, guys. Oh, man, so excited for the future of the story. Man, I hope you guys are too. But if you like this, please give it a like. I also have a Patreon. It gives you access to a weekly Q&A. But if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.